What is going on, YouTubeverse? John Stanek from Johnny Radio here, bringing you another Top 5 on this glorious Top 5 Friday. And I really could not be more excited today than to be talking to you about my favorite band of all time, the Beatles, and my personal favorite Top 5 Beatles songs. Man, was this hard to whittle them down, but I think I did it, and here we go. At number 5... Nothing's gonna change my world. Across the Universe from the 1970 album Let It Be, which in order of their albums being released, this was the last one. I actually prefer the version of this that ended up on the Blue album, the Greatest Hits compilation that came later down the road. But it is just such a beautiful song by John Lennon. It was when they were overseas in India that he wrote this song, and he has some Indian lyrics in there, the Jai Guru Deva, which means you are a good guru. Obviously, that time, later on, he would go on to kind of denounce the experience that he had over there with the song Sexy Sadie. But at the time that he wrote this, it was so sincere, and obviously that religious experience translated well into this Song of Beauty where he says, "Nothing's going to change my world," over and over again. Just a beautiful song, one of their best and most underrated melodies, I think, as the band. But really, it's more a Lennon song than a Beatles song. It just ended up as the Beatles. So that's at my number 5. Now, folks, at number 4. Let it be, let it be, let it be. Let It Be, the title track, also from the album Let It Be. This being Paul's baby. This is absolutely one of his best ballads, and I would say, like Across the Universe, one of the greatest ballads ever written. I think the Beatles really shined more on ballads in general. You'll see that from my list here. But this one, obviously he was very inspired by an image of his mother came to him in the middle of the night. Mother Mary comes to me speaking words of wisdom, let it be. So a very personal song for Paul as well, and it translates so well into a universal song of peace and love, which is what the Beatles were all about. And man, just the chord changes on this, the guitar solo from George. Again, just like Across the Universe, I enjoy the Blue album version, which is slightly different take of that song, but man, is it one of the best. And that is at my number 4. Now, folks, at number 3. Something in the way she moves. Something. The George Harrison ballad from my favorite Beatles album of all time, Abbey Road. This, I think, is the best song on that record, which is really something to say, for lack of a better word. But man, the chord changes on this are so lovely. George singing his heart out. Of course, he had written that for his then wife, Patty, who later would leave him for Eric Clapton. Crazy story, but at the time, man, this was just unbelievable. And I've heard that Frank Sinatra actually thought that this was a Lennon-McCartney song, and they had to set him straight and say, no, this is a Harrison song. And man, George was just at the top of his game at this time when the Beatles went out with a bang, and then he would later come out with All Things Must Pass with a bunch more songs at this level that he had been kind of shelving because it was hard between Lennon and McCartney to get a lot of George Harrison songs on an album, but man, did this one deserve to be there. Just gorgeous. That is at my number 3. Now, folks, at number 2. Hey Jude, don't make it. Hey Jude, the 1968 single that actually was not even on an album, if you can believe that. It ended up being on a compilation later called the Hey Jude album, but you would think that at the time, around the time the White Album was released with as many songs that were on that they would have just thrown that one on there. But that's how good the Beatles were, man. They had so many amazing songs that a lot of their singles that were of this caliber didn't end up on a record. That just amazes me. But again, another amazing ballad that kind of builds and builds as it goes. And Paul, of course, the story behind this is that John and his wife Cynthia were going through a divorce, and Paul wrote this to Julian, their son, who was having a hard time with the divorce, to kind of console him. He changed the name to Jude. History is made, and it's just seriously one of the best rock songs ever, with Paul McCartney still to this day closing out his live shows with everyone singing "Na na 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 na" along with him. I mean, come on, man. One of the best songs ever written. There you go. That's my number 2. Now, folks, at number 1. Don't let me down. Don't Let Me Down. And I know a lot of you are probably saying, what, you're number 1? But man, I could listen to this song over and over again. It has everything I love about the Beatles. John being the main singer of this song, but Paul doing that high harmony perfectly with him. It's got the rock. It's got Billy Preston on keyboards, who this was during the Let It Be sessions, but somehow didn't end up on that album. This also was a single. Actually, I believe it was a B-side of a single at the time. Just crazy. So this also ended up on the Hey Jude album. So, which is a must-have just for these 2 songs, which are at the top of my list of all time. But man, just a beautiful melody, a beautiful harmony. George does some great soloing over top of it. And of course, John wrote this to Yoko as they were falling in love for the first time, as he says in the song. It is just, it's powerful. Their version of this, performing of it on top of the roof, their last actual performance as a band, is so fun to watch. You can just tell they're having so much fun with this song. There's so much joy, passion, and love in it, and that is what encapsulates what the Beatles are all about. So that is my top 5, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. What is your top 5? If you're so bold, leave me a top 10. I mean, I could easily do a top 50 Beatles songs because, as I said, they're my favorite band of all time. There's not a bad Beatles album out there. But anyway, please leave me a comment. Like, subscribe. We have so much more, so many more top 5s every Friday, Viva La Vinyl, classic album reviews, and so much more. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, Viva La Vinyl. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, all that jazz. Check out some of my other content that you can see on the screen now. Thank you again for supporting Johnny Radio. Take care, and I'll see you soon.